Good evening. The flow of the program for this evening is as follows. We will begin with the welcome address, followed by a brief introduction and a video on the university. Then we shall invite the esteemed representative of the British Columbia University to present a brief overview of the institution. After the representative's presentation, we shall request the resource person to answer a few questions raised by the attendees in the Q&A segment. Then we shall conclude the session with a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Education is one of the most powerful things in life. It allows us to find the meaning behind everything and helps improve lives in a massive way. Yes, education is the platform that makes it possible to defeat all barriers.
Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. A meaningful quote by one of the greatest poets of the 20th century, W.B. Yeats. Education gives us an understanding of the world around us and offers us an opportunity to use that knowledge wisely.
Wow, this is what we are here for. Avenir 2021 is organized with the vision to empower and facilitate students to navigate their future and make their dreams real.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome the Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman, Dr. Shivakumar Manikyam. We wholeheartedly welcome the esteemed members of the various boards of directors, CBSE officials, distinguished members of the MOE, Oman, and officials of the Embassy of India, Sultanate of Oman. A hearty welcome to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, the Honorary President of ISWK Management Committee, and other members of the School Management Committee of Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir. A heartfelt welcome to the principals, vice principals, assistant vice principals, HODs, coordinators, supervisors, and the entire teaching fraternity across the globe. I am extremely delighted to welcome students from all over the world, parents, staff, invitees, and all our well-wishers. A very warm welcome to all present here virtually with us for this session on day 5 of Avenir 2021, which is set to be a 9-day global career guidance program. This year, Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir is the proud torchbearer of this mega event under the aegis of the Board of Directors, Indian Schools, and the Sultanate of Oman. Welcome all once again.
Your hosts for this evening are Zoya Fatima of Class 8 and Savio Shibu of Class 12 from Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir.
Dear audience, it is our pleasure and privilege to have you all here with us on this journey of transforming your dreams into reality. You're requested to fill in the feedback form, which will be posted in the description box towards the end of the session. Filling this form is necessary as it would fetch you a participation certificate. You're also requested to post your queries in the chat box. Our distinguished speaker will answer them in the Q&A session. For those who have joined through YouTube, are requested to check the description box for the link of the feedback form.
The University of British Columbia is a public research university with campuses in Vancouver and Kelowna. Established in 1908, UBC is British Columbia's oldest university. The University of British Columbia is a global center for teaching, learning, and research, consistently ranked among the top 20 public universities in the world. The university ranks among the top 3 universities in Canada. 8 Nobel laureates, 71 Rhodes Scholars, 65 Olympians, 10 fellows in both American Academy of Arts and Sciences and the Royal Society, and 273 fellows to the Royal Society of Canada have been affiliated with UBC. 3 Canadian prime ministers, including Canada's first female prime minister, Kim Campbell, and current Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, have been educated at UBC. UBC embraces innovation and transforms ideas into action. Since 1915, UBC has been opening doors of opportunity for people with curiosity, drive, and vision to shape a better world. a world-leading center of teaching, learning, and research excellence. UBC transforms personal initiative into innovation and new ideas into impact. Today, we are honored to have with us an eminent representative, Mr. Nathan Harrington from the University of British Columbia, who will discuss programs and courses offered by the university. Prior to the session, let's watch a video presentation about the university. That was indeed a splendid video. Now, I would like to introduce our dynamic guest speaker for the session, Mr. Nathan Harrington from the University of British Columbia. Mr. Nathan is an associate international student recruiter and advisor at the University of British Columbia. He primarily supports prospective students, their families, and counselors in the Americas, Middle East, and Africa. Mr. Nathan grew up in the UAE and Saudi Arabia before completing his undergraduate degree in human geography at UBC's Vancouver campus. Over to you, sir, for your presentation.
Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Great. All right. Well, it's so great to have the opportunity to connect with you. Thank you very much for having me here today, and thank you for joining to learn a little bit more about the University of British Columbia. Again, my name is Nathan, and I'm an Associate International Student Recruiter and Advisor here at the University of British Columbia. And I also am an alumni of our Vancouver campus, so I did my undergraduate studies in human geography there. And today, it's my goal to help you figure out whether or not the University of British Columbia will be the right fit for you for university. So I'm going to take you through a short overview presentation to tell you a little bit more about what it's like to be a student at UBC. And then we'll also have I'll also cover some of the admissions related sides of things, and then we'll have lots of time for questions as well. I hope that you enjoy it today. Please feel free to start putting your questions in the Q&A, and we'll get to those once I've gone through the presentation. So I'd like to start by doing something called a land acknowledgement. The University of British Columbia, our two campuses, are located on the traditional territories of two Indigenous nations. Our Vancouver campus is on traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam, and on the Okanagan campus, we respectfully acknowledge the traditions and customs of the Syilx Okanagan Nation. This acknowledgement reminds us that these lands have been places of living and learning long before our university was here, and also recognizes the ongoing presence of these nations on these lands and our relationship with them. And I think that the action that comes along with these acknowledgements also helps to set a really important foundation for the values of the UBC community. And I know that many of you right now are likely thinking about where you want to go for university and thinking about lots of different places. And I hope that when you're considering UBC, a big part of your consideration is our values. We value many things, but some of the ones that I wanted to touch on today are academic excellence. So as a top leading research-heavy university, how do we make this a good place to learn? Being diverse and inclusive to our incredible student body. And how do we have a global impact in everything that we do? UBC is the most international university in North America, with students from over 18,000 international students from over 166 different countries. So that means that when you go to UBC, not only are you learning from your professors, you're also learning from the many students around you, from your peers who have had vastly different life experiences than you, but also potentially being able to connect with other people who have similar life experiences to you. And that's just one way to think about diversity. Every student comes with their own unique challenges, experiences, and identities. And there's a lot of resources at UBC to help make sure that our diverse community feels welcome, safe, and supported. And when it comes to our global impact, it's really important to talk about sustainability. UBC has an ambitious climate action plan, and one of the components is to completely eliminate our greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2050. But that's just one part of it. We see our campuses as living, learning laboratories for how we can live more sustainably. So whether it's net zero buildings, innovative water management systems, the forests that surround campus where research takes place, or a farm that produces very local produce and is served in our residence dining rooms. Sustainability is part of our infrastructure, part of our values, and part of who we are. And I think it's a really important part of being a student at UBC as well. Speaking of being a UBC student, some people ask the question, like, what does it take to be a UBC student, or what makes a UBC student? And there's really no one correct answer to this. Every single one of you can make your own answer. It's about how you think, how you learn, how you connect with others. And some of the qualities that I think can be really powerful for anyone, no matter where you go, but maybe particularly for UBC, is to be creative, collaborative, and curious. So whether you're showing creativity through scientific innovation, how you're working to solve the many problems that the world faces today by working collaboratively with others, valuing inclusivity and teamwork in the process of working together to solve these problems. These are just some of the qualities that can make a UBC student, whether you're doing global impact research or expressing your creativity artistically, getting involved with your community beyond academics, and just generally making the most of your own unique experience. It's really important to figure out what you want that to look like for you, and to find ways to really expand your horizons in your own way. When it comes to the UBC experience, there's a unique balance of these sort of three key areas that I'd like you to, if you remember anything from my presentation today, try and focus on these three. It's a great place to learn, it's a beautiful place to live with two incredible campuses, and many opportunities to get actively engaged in your learning. So we'll start with talking about academic excellence. UBC is in the top universities in the world. And for context, there's over 25,000 different universities worldwide. So we're really proud to be in the top 40 research universities and top 20 public universities worldwide. So this means that we are globally recognized for our high academic standards and a really great learning environment. 98% of our professors have their PhDs, and the other 2% are industry professionals. So no matter who you're learning from, they're going to be highly qualified and experts in their field. And then when it comes to what you can study, there's a really wide variety. We offer over 260 different undergraduate majors in pretty much any academic discipline. And you can choose to specialize in one program and then minor in another program that you're also interested in. You can also choose to take a really unique combined or dual degree. There's a lot of flexibility with a school like UBC. But for now, in the process of applying to UBC, you actually don't need to know exactly what you want to study just yet. We have 44 bachelor's degree programs. And when you apply to UBC, you apply to one of these bachelor degree programs. This could be something like a Faculty of Applied Science or Engineering, or a Bachelor of Science degree, or a Bachelor of Arts. There's lots of different options there. And we'll talk a little bit more about the application process later on. When you graduate from UBC, you're going to be coming away from an internationally recognized place. Whether you're going to continue your studies elsewhere or you're going to work internationally, they will know that UBC is a place that has challenged you and prepared you well for the world. Speaking of maybe where we're located in the world, I'm going to talk for a little while about our location now. So of course, we're located in Canada, which can be a great place to live for many people. And our education system is publicly funded. So we invest more than almost any other country in our post-secondary education system. So this means that if you do your undergraduate studies in Canada, pretty much no matter what university you attend, you're going to get a high quality of education. And then after you've done your undergraduate studies, you have the option to remain in Canada using our 3-year postgrad work permit, which can allow you to stay in Canada, work, and take you on the path to permanent residency if that's something you're interested in, building roots in Canada. The University of British Columbia is located on the west coast of Canada in the province of British Columbia, which is a really, really beautiful place on the west coast on the Pacific Ocean. We have 2 campuses, but we are one university. So no matter which campus you attend, you still get the same internationally recognized degree, but each campus has their own unique experiences, Vancouver and Okanagan. And you can see on this world map here where we're located on the west coast there of North America. Starting off with our Okanagan campus, which is located in the Okanagan region of British Columbia. It's located just next to the city of Kelowna, which is a fast-growing city and a beautiful place to live. It's located right on a lake, and it's surrounded by hills and mountains. It's currently a really fast-growing entrepreneurial community, so if you're interested in technology and innovation, that's a really cool place to be right now. In terms of weather, what you'll find in Kelowna is hot, dry summers and cold winters. So you can go skiing in the winters on the nearby mountains, or do all sorts of other activities in the summer, like swimming in the lake, going hiking, biking, you name it. It's a really great community for that. The Okanagan campus itself is located about a 20-minute bus ride from the downtown core of Kelowna. So it has its own space, but it's also really well connected with the city with a lot of unique campus-city partnerships. It's our smaller campus with about 10,000 undergraduate students, and it's a really beautiful place. We've got great world-class facilities here. It's our newer campus and a really tight-knit learning community. The Vancouver campus is located about 4 hours away, or a 1-hour flight away out on the coast. So once you've graduated from UBC, you will have taken all of your classes at one campus or the other. Since they're so far apart, it's not a university where students commute between campuses, so you do need to choose. Vancouver is Canada's 3rd largest city. It's a major metropolitan city, incredibly diverse, and really a gateway to the rest of the world. There's over 10 major languages spoken, and it's considered one of the best for qualities of life, because you can be in the heart of the city earlier one day, and then later that day, you can be camping on top of a mountain. So there's really something for everyone here. So it's got spectacular surroundings. It's really diverse with a great international food and festival scene, theater, arts, lots of really cool things to do and see in Vancouver. The campus itself is located about a 30-minute bus ride from the downtown core, so also really connected with the city, but we have our own space. It's a larger campus with 46,000 undergraduate students. And this means that there's so many different unique communities within that for you to really connect with people who have similar shared passions to you and to learn more about yourself in the process. And for both of our campuses, I'd highly encourage you to take a live virtual campus tour where you can speak to current students and get a good understanding of what it's like to be a student there. I also wanted to note that both of our campuses offer guaranteed housing for students coming directly out of high school. So if you're in your first year at UBC and you want to live on campus, you can. And then we also have on-campus housing options for students in every subsequent year as well. So let's move on to talk about active learning. Something that I really like to highlight about being in university is that it's not just about what you learn in the classroom. It's such an exciting time of life to really learn about yourself and try new things and explore your passions. And I hope that through this, you'll see that there's so many different ways for you to do that at UBC. So we've got a couple of different topics here: research opportunities, work experience, athletics, clubs, and international experience. And I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind putting in the chat, which of these topics would you like me to speak about today? I'll give you a moment. Oh, in the Q&A. Great. Thanks, everyone. So I see interest in clubs, work experience, and athletic, and research. Great. Okay. We can also just talk about all of them if you'd like. So let's start with clubs. As you saw in that initial video, there's so many different communities at UBC for you to get involved in. Between our two campuses, there's over 400 different student groups and clubs. And these are a great way to find a new passion or a new interest and meet new people, or to connect with something that's really important to you. So these clubs have a variety of different topics. They can be more outdoorsy and sporty, whether you want to just like play some games with friends, whether that's like esports games or like actual like physical sports, get out into the mountains, go surfing, or if you want to do something more academic, so connect with students in your area of study, like the Psychology Students Association or the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Club. And then there's other ones that are sort of just for fun, clubs that bring ice cream to campus, ones that help you connect with animals. There's so many different clubs at UBC. And if there isn't one that meets your interest, you can start your own. Let's head back here. I see lots of interest in research. So let's talk a little bit about that. Oh, I see someone knows UBC PhotoSoc. That's awesome. It's a photography club. Yeah. Let's talk a bit about research. So as I've mentioned, UBC is a highly ranked research university. So this means that research is happening on our campuses all the time. And undergraduate students are welcome and encouraged to get engaged in research opportunities as early as their first year of their undergraduate studies. And it's open to students in all areas of study. So if you want to get that hands-on experience where you learn about something in a class and you really want to, dive a little bit deeper and follow that interest, you might be discovering new planets. There have been UBC students who have done that. And there also has been a whole bunch of different companies and projects that have spun off from UBC research that have had global impacts, including some of the treatments for COVID-19. So research is a really cool way to get hands-on learning experience. And we invest a lot into research opportunities for our students. Another type of experience is work experience. So when you're a student in university, it's really helpful to get hands-on work experience so that once you graduate, you've got things on your resume and you can go straight into a great job. And one of the ways to do that is through our co-op program, or cooperative education. This allows students to get full-time and often paid work experience as early as throughout their degree, which then allows, after you've graduated, to potentially come away with a job offer from one of the employers that you worked for. What I really like about co-op is that you can try a whole bunch of different jobs and decide, hey, I really like that. Or maybe you decide that was not the job for me. You tried it for 4 months and you can move on to something else. And there's lots of great employers that UBC works with to hire their students, both in Canada and around the world. If you're not doing the cooperative education program, you can also just work part-time to help fund your studies and get that good learning experience as well. We'll touch briefly on athletics and international experiences before moving on. So there's lots of different athletic teams at UBC where you can compete either at the varsity level, which would mean representing the university internationally, or you can also compete within UBC as part of a competitive intramural league where you and a bunch of friends can play against other UBC students maybe once or twice a week. And this ranges from beginner level to very competitive for students who are, they love to play football or whatever sort of sport you're interested in. There's usually an intramural team for pretty much most sports. And let's talk about international experiences. So we're a very international university, very globally focused. And it also, this means that we partner with a lot of different universities worldwide. We have over 200 different global partnerships. And going on exchange is a great way to just get a new perspective and meet new people and try something else. Usually students go from between 4 months and a year, and they study at one of these different universities. And if you plan your courses in advance, those credits will transfer back to UBC, and you don't actually need to extend your degree to go on exchange. So I want to just tell you a quick story about someone named Valley. Valley is an international student at UBC at our Vancouver campus doing a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Creative Writing and minoring in Applied Animal Biology. So you can see that she's already, just from her academics, exploring 2 very different, unique passions and interests. And then outside of the classroom, she's also found so many different ways to make her UBC experience her own and find other ways to learn. She loves to skateboard around campus. She's represented students on our residence hall associations. She's on the artistic swimming team where she competes against other universities. She's a campus tour guide, and she's also a musician, and you can look her up on Spotify. So really the idea here is that every student's experience is going to be uniquely their own, and it's up to you to make the most out of your own unique experience. So that covers academic excellence, what makes this a great place to learn, and then the many ways to get actively engaged in your learning. I'd now like to go ahead and touch a little bit on our application process for those of you who are potentially thinking about this right now. So your first step is to decide what campus you'd like to study at and what degree program you're interested in applying to. And then it's important to make sure that you meet the minimum admission requirements for the programs that you're applying for. And I will show you in a moment on our website where you can find that information. You can apply online starting now. The application is open and it closes on January 15th. And then after you've applied, we'll reach out to you to request your documents. When it comes to how your application will be evaluated, UBC is proud to really look at students holistically. So grades are really important. We'll look particularly at your grade 11 and 12 results, and we look at your academics with an eye for breadth, relevancy, and rigor. So have you taken a broad range of courses? Have you focused in on some specific areas that are related to your intended area of study at UBC? And have you taken a rigorous study option by challenging yourself with the number of courses you've taken? Maybe you've done honors, advanced placement, or international baccalaureate. So those are all considerations when it comes to your academic performance. When it comes to the supplementary pieces, UBC is the only university in Canada that asks for an additional component or personal profile. So this is a chance for you to tell us more about who you are. What are the life experiences that you've had that have set you up for success at being a student at UBC? What are the things that you care about? What are the things that you want to learn? And how have you reflected on the experiences that you've had in life? It's really more about how you've reflected and less about exactly what you've done. And then I'll finish things off with how we evaluate your application by sharing that our process is competitive and comparative. So this means that when you apply to UBC, you'll be evaluated against the other students who have applied to that same bachelor degree program that year. So that means each of our programs have a different level of competitiveness, and this also varies from year to year, depending on the number of students who have applied. And it's also important to be thinking about finances early on, as attending university is a significant investment. So what you're seeing now is the international tuition cost for students in their first year. So this will cost about $44,000 US, including your tuition, housing and food, and then other additional fees and costs. And acknowledging that that's a significant amount, UBC also does provide many different opportunities for students to get international student awards and scholarships. So we have merit-based awards and need and merit-based awards. Our merit-based awards don't require an additional application. So we will evaluate your grades and your personal profile right when you have applied to UBC to consider whether or not you're eligible for a merit-based scholarship. Merit-based awards, there's a range of what they can look like. Potentially, it could be a $20,000 award one time when you first start at UBC, or a recurring $25,000 award that you receive every year for 4 years. So you'll notice that these awards don't cover the full cost of attending UBC, but they do help supplement the cost. For students with significant financial need, we do have need and merit-based awards. These require a nomination from your school, as well as an additional application and proof of significant financial need. Again, with all of these awards and with financial planning in general, really important to be thinking in advance. So that wraps up what I'd like to share with you today, just to give you an overview of UBC. I'll be sharing in the chat a link to our prospective student guide and website, which will have lots more information as well. And I'm happy to talk more about anything that you have questions about now.
Thank you, sir. It was truly an enriching and empowering session. Sir, may I request you to answer a few queries which have been raised by our valued audience. Sir, may I now invite our moderator for the session, Ms. Sacheta, to share with you the questions raised by our audience.
Once again, good evening and welcome from Team Avenir here at ISWK Muscat, Oman. Welcome, Mr. Nathan Harrington.
Thanks, Sacheta.
I am very happy with your presentation, and it was simply enlightening. You covered most of the topics, and that too in quite a jiffy and short and sweet manner. Yet there are some question and answers, as I can see here. Could you possibly give an overall of approximate figure of the total expenditure? I know you have shown us some data, but this would also include the living cost and all other costs. So could you just elaborate a little on that?
Absolutely, yeah. So that figure that I showed on the previous slide was $44,000 US, and that covered tuition, housing and food, and other fees. But for every student, this will look a little bit different depending on your unique situation. So we have a really helpful thing on our website called a cost calculator. So under financial planning, you can go to what will your first year cost? And here you can select the different details that are specific to your situation. So what campus you'd like to study at, what program you plan to study, as each program also has slightly different fees, your citizenship. In this case, I'm going to put international, as that will distinguish between international students and domestic students. And let's say your permanent home is outside of Canada, to calculate things like housing and travel. And then where you will live during the school year. Let's say you live on campus in a single room. Without putting in any financial support yet, we'll go ahead and calculate this. And this will break down specifically all of the different fees that you'll have for 1 year at UBC. And this here is in Canadian dollars, and you can convert it to a different currency if you would like. This would be approximately $50,000 US. And then you'll see some resources below for our different awards and scholarships for international students that you can link to right here.
Mr. Nathan, will the city make a difference in the expenditure largely, or will it be more or less similar?
You mean which campus maybe?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it will make a difference. I'm not sure exactly. It sort of depends on the program within the campus, but you can take a look at your sort of top interested programs for each campus and compare the costs.
Okay, Mr. Nathan. Another thing that the viewers have written here is that is it possible to be attached to any kind of research work while they are at undergrad level? And could you highlight the positives if they do get attached as a researcher, as a helper in your ongoing postgrad researches?
Oh, that's such a great question. Yes, it is possible to get involved with research as early as your first year of your undergraduate studies. So one of the ways that when I was a student, that many students would get involved in research is they would, after their lecture or after their class, they would go and chat with their professor and say, hey, I'm really interested in learning more about the research that you're doing here at UBC. It sounds really cool. I'm wondering if I could maybe learn a little bit more and if you have any positions available in your laboratory or on your team. So that's one way to just like talk with someone and see if there's any opportunities there. And as you've mentioned, research is also an important part of graduate studies. So many students get involved in research in their undergrad studies, and that can actually lead them on a path to connecting with a professor and then finding a course for their graduate level studies. And research is just such a great experience overall. Whether or not you choose to do graduate studies, it's a great way to get really hands-on learning experience. Many students have published research in their undergraduate years, which is a really great way to sort of set yourself up for success no matter where you go next.
Okay, and I believe that will also expose the students to the industry for the specialization that they are, studying for.
Absolutely. Many companies and organizations are looking for people with research experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Nathan. That was indeed enlightening. Over to the compares now.
Thank you, Mr. Cheta. Thank you, sir. We are truly grateful for your relevant, valued, and patient answers to all our queries. I'm sure the participants are enlightened and have got a true picture about the prospects available for them at your esteemed organization. Dear audience, you're requested to fill in the feedback form, which will be posted in the chat box towards the end of the session. Filling this form is necessary as it would fetch you a participation certificate. For those who have joined through YouTube, you're requested to check the description box for the link of the feedback form.
As we have come to an end of this session, I reckon it a privilege to put my gratitude into words. It is my pleasure to propose the vote of thanks. On behalf of Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir, the organizing team, and the entire audience, let me first express a profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said for the magnanimous benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora in the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty shower abundant blessings on His Majesty and this peaceful and prosperous country of our residence. We extend heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr. Nathan Harrington from the University of British Columbia. Thank you, sir. The session was truly informative and enlightening. It has opened up new vistas before us. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Dr. Shivakumar Manickam, Chairman, Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. Our sincere thanks to all the esteemed members of the various Board of Directors, CBSE officials, distinguished members of the MOE Oman, and officials of the Indian Embassy, Sultanate of Oman. Our heartfelt thanks to Mr. Alkesh Joshi, the Honorary President, Indian School Al-Wadi Al-Kabir Management Committee, and other members of the School Management Committee for their profound encouragement at all times. I also wish to take this opportunity to express our heartfelt gratitude to our tower of strength and source of motivation, our beloved Principal, Mr. D.N. Rao, Honorable Principals of all participating schools in MENA region, Vice Principals, Assistant Vice Principals, Coordinators, Supervisors, and the entire teaching community of all the participating schools for their support, guidance, and active involvement. We are indeed grateful to our platinum sponsor, StudyCo, gold sponsor, Jain Group of Institutions, Grey Matter Academics, Vellore Institute of Technology, Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education and Research, bronze sponsors, Middle East College Oman, Thapar Institute of Engineering and Technology, Dallas Baptist University, and MIT World Peace University, Pune. Digital marketing partner Spectrum, media partner The Arabian Stories, and valued donors. I wish to thank each and every student and parent for their valuable presence in making this session of our Global Career Fair Avenir 2021 a grand event. An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. My earnest and heartfelt thank you to my ISWK team behind the scene, working tirelessly and making Avenir 2021 a tangible reality. Last but not the least, I thank Almighty God for making this session a great success.
Thank you all. See you soon. Take care and good night.